103, the time is 5 + 4, and as promised, we have Ntsane Matla in the house. That is Ntsane Lega.
Everything that okay?
Wa re phetse lora. Re ke bue ditaba tsa hao pele wena o di bua hantle.
Okay.
Ntsane Matla is a public speaker and facilitator who has a BA in communication. Matla works as an applied communication skills lecturer at the Vaal University of Technology, and Matla is the owner of Matla Speaking Consultants. He's a man with many public speaking accolades, such as his 2009 certificate for the best performance in public speaking. I'm looking at this man now. I think I might have missed something. So if I did, when I'm
no, at the moment, don't you try to work. There's nothing that you've missed up to this point.
And then we'll get straight to the questions.
Okay, Hope FM. I give you the medicine. Let's cover so much. We'll be like against Ntsane Matla, and I hope we'll enjoy our interview in a whole line.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. Thank you for coming through. So, into the questions, straight to the questions. You're a public speaker, a facilitator, a lecturer. How do you balance everything?
Well, to be quite honest, it's not easy. Right? My 9-to-5 job, it is quite demanding, and it requires me to always be on campus, right?
Yes.
So then what I usually do is that I try to have a proper time management. So let us say in case maybe I've got an event that I will have to go and speak at, so then I will just prepare my work, and then I also have to deal with some of my students. Now, the advantage about being at university is that you get to interact a lot with students, and then the beauty furthermore is that if I know perhaps maybe I won't be able to see them on that particular day, they can be able to push themselves. But I also have consultation hours where they can come to me if maybe they had a problem with a particular content, so that I can be able to take them through. So then that's how I manage to cover if I don't get to see them in a particular day. But in overall, it is quite demanding, but I try by all means to manage everything.
So with these many things that you do, with many positions that you hold, are any of them related? Is there like you can use public speaking while teaching your lesson, or you can be a motivator while in class? How do you do that? And is it apparent in the results that you see?
Well, look, all of my life, like one thing that I've always known, it's public speaking, right? So then lecturing requires you to stand in front of people. That's public speaking. Facilitation, right? You have to stand in front of people. And then lecturing, and then also like motivational speaking. It also requires you to stand in front of people, right? But then the only difference, it is how you deliver your content. With facilitation, you don't necessarily teach people, right? You only give them certain tools, and then they can take them to the next level. Basically, that's what I do, right? And then with public speaking, motivational speaking, what I do is to share strategies with my audience on how they can overcome their fears and take their lives to the next level. And then lecturing, you just basically share content with your students.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Then have you ever been in a situation where you feel intimidated by a crowd? Has that ever happened? Or?
I don't think I think it must have been the first time I ever started doing public speaking.
You remember what it was?
It was at Juggling High School. It must have been around 2008, if I recall clearly. I was in grade 9. And then I remember there was a school from Northwest Stop that had visited us. And then we had to take part in a debate competition. So then you can imagine like the nerves. So then I think that was the first time I could say I was really nervous. But because I'd managed to practice prior to the competition, I managed to crack it. As a matter of fact, I was voted as the best debater at that session. But it did not come easily. I was nervous on that day. But the thing about public speaking is that you have to learn to manage your nerves. Because if you can never manage your nerves, Like
problem.
it's a problem. Like you're going to like crack in front of an audience, and I think that is the worst thing that could ever happen to anyone. It could like it takes away your credibility.
Yeah.
But because I've always made a commitment to learning more about public speaking, so I've always read books on how to manage my nerves. Like even now, they still get to me, right? But you can never notice that, because I'm very good at concealing that. But I know for a fact that I'm nervous. Because I remember I think it was early this year, I was at Dennisville. I delivered this motivational talk, and then I got off the stage. And then I received a standing ovation. And then after that, I was with my friends. And then there was something that was happening after that talk. And then I asked him about it. He says, but how come you didn't realize that? It's like, hey man, nerves got to me at that point. You see? So that's how things are, right? So, but it takes time, right? You've got to master, and it takes commitment from your side. It also takes practice. But with time, it gets better. Trust me.
Second nature.
It becomes second nature.
So do you have a standard planning of your sessions? Like, do you have a method that you follow for every session, or you just go there and freestyle?
No, not necessarily. You know what would happen? Let's say, suppose you come to me and then you say, Ntsane, I've got an event. So basically what I would do with you is that, let's say maybe you are from a particular organization. I would firstly try to understand what is it that we're trying to achieve out of this event. And then I'll go through my talk and then try to make it a point that it fits your needs, right? So that it can relate and complement whatever theme that you have for that event. So that's how basically I work. So I don't just come to an event and then I deliver my presentation. No, it doesn't work like that. I come to you, I then understand what is it that we want to achieve, who are your audience, what is their level of education, so that I can be able to understand who my target audience is and how I can be able to structure my content so that it can fit the level of understanding or knowledge, if you may put it like that.
I understand. So you wouldn't do it without proper
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Because as a matter of fact, there's another event that I'm supposed to attend this coming Friday. So I'm still negotiating with those people, trying to find out what is their theme, who is their target audience, right? Yeah. Because sometimes it's important to understand if you are the right person for the job, right? Because sometimes somebody says, you're a public speaker, just come and speak to my event, only to find that you don't really understand their theme, your talk doesn't really fit in, right? You are not relevant to them. And you know what does that to you? It affects your credibility because people are there, right? And then if it happens that they see you somewhere else, but they say, this guy was at my event, but like whatever he said to me was not meaningful to me. So you always want to like keep up with your credibility, right? Because nowadays credibility is everything, right? It's everything nowadays. So that's why I do a proper and thorough research to understand if I really do fit into that event. And if I don't, I can be kind enough to refer to you to somebody else who might be a perfect fit for your event.
And do you have subjects that you try to avoid? Like themes or subjects that you try?
Well, my area of specialization, my talks right now, it is on like human personal development, right? So I speak on fear. So just like I mentioned earlier on, right? So then my talk, Feel Fear, Pursue Your Dreams. It is basically the fact that a lot of people are not living lives that they truly want to manifest, but rather they're forever controlled by their fears, right? So then my talk is based on that, and I share with audience members how they can be able to overcome their fears and to be able to manifest their true potential. Because chances are that we all want to manifest our true potential, right? Because I believe that one of the worst regrets you could ever have as a human being is to reflect back on your life and then realize that you are nothing but a mere reflection of what you could have been. Like think about that for a moment. Here you are 45 years old and then you reflect back in your life, you say, but wait a minute, man. I could have. What if? Should have. Now those things don't work, right? And I always encourage the youth that at this age that you are at, right? From 20 up until 35, try to work as much as you can. Try to pursue your dreams as much as you can. Fail if you can, right? Because it does not help you that when you reflect back in your life that you are only filled with regrets, right? And then you are filled with midlife crisis, right? So right now you have to take this opportunity and then try to like do the best that you can.
Carpe diem.
Carpe diem.
Yeah. Your core focus is based on overcoming fear and pursuing your dreams in a business aspect.
Yes.
What was the reason behind choosing this focus? Is there a personal story to it? Or?
Look, not necessarily, but I've always been intrigued by fear, right? So if you look at people around us, right? If you look at people around us, and if you look at our friends, just like I mentioned earlier on, a lot of people would really love to pursue their dreams. Yeah. But fear holds them back, right? It's more or less like if you say, and here's the thing: as human beings, we don't like feedback. Yeah. Let's suppose that you come here and then you say, I want to be the best radio presenter ever there's ever been on Hope FM. Yeah. Do you realize what that does? First and foremost, it attracts attention, right? But second of all is that you're going to get feedback. And a lot of people don't like feedback, right? Yeah. Because if you say in 6 months I'm going to be the best radio presenter here, it means now you have a specific deadline and you have a specific time frame. And if you don't achieve that dream, chances are that people are going to criticize you. People are going to laugh at you, right? And nobody likes that. Because the moment you feel embarrassed, you feel like a failure. And nobody wants to feel like that. And that's why a lot of people would rather opt to survive in a comfort zone.
To not even try anything.
To not even try anything. Because of fear, right? Because if you look at the central denominators of fear, it's embarrassment, it's failure, and laughter. So nobody wants other people to look at them and say, he said he wanted to do this, and look at him, he's nowhere. Didn't get anywhere. So people fear that feedback, because once you dare yourself and you proclaim your greatness, you must know that you're going to get feedback, and at times it's not going to be favorable. Yeah. And people fear that. So that's what inspired me. So you know what? I really want to focus on fear and really try to understand that how does it manifest, and can we really truly overcome fear? And of course we can. I mean, society is filled with people who have managed to overcome fear. But funny enough, there are still people who are still held back by fear. So that's what inspired me to get into this whole thing. Yeah.
And other people's failures are people that have never tried anything.
Exactly.
And that's something that you could use as to motivate yourself.
Exactly.
You know, you can motivate yourself. Once again, even if you laugh at me, I did something. I went out there and pursued something.
Because here's the thing: if you are in pursuit of something, and I'm just sitting here and criticizing you, nothing is happening on my side. But you, on the other side, are growing, right? And then you get to experience things, and then you learn lessons. Part of the reasons why, if let's say maybe Vusi Tembewaya or Trevor Noah says, I'm going to host an event. I want you guys to come, right? We're going to go there primarily because we know the guy is successful. He has walked the road. So he's got lessons, he's got experience. And that's why he's managed to gather so much people. But if I'm sitting down here and say I'm going to speak and I'm going to do an event on 1, 2, 3, 4, and yet I don't have anything to back it up, nobody else is going to take me serious, right? And that's how it is. Now, if you take that bold step, right, if you manage to overcome your fears, trust me, right, you're going to get used to it. Even failure, it won't even, it will hit you sometimes, but you'll always have the ability to get back up.
No, man, beautiful words. And then how do you handle the pressure of juggling everything? Like you said, on top of being, you're a human being.
I'm a human being.
This person that everybody expects to be perfect on that stage, you have your own battles happening, which is fear is one of them.
Fear is one of them.
You want your content to be relevant, you want your content to be relatable and all that. So how do you juggle speaking and controlling your fear, hiding it, and sticking to your script on the day? How do you do that?
Look, you go to any public speaker, right? They'll tell you that the best way to perfect your presentation is to always practice it, right? And I can even tell you for sure, like some of the biggest names in the public speaking industry, they'll still tell you that you need to rehearse your presentations. Because, look, public speaking is not just standing in front of people and then speaking, right? It is a technique. And then you have to learn how to master that, right? You have to learn, when do I make my pauses? When do I maintain my eye contact? Because remember, if let's say there are about 50 people in a room, my main objective is to make you feel, guys, as if you're connected to what I'm saying. So that when I leave that room, you can have a sense of connection with me. So then you need to learn, when do I look at Dan, and then when do I look at somebody else? You understand? And when am I going to pause? When am I going to raise my level of voice? When am I going to tone it down? And all of those things, it requires practice. And I can even tell you right now, the book that I'm currently reading right now, it's based on public speaking.
Writing or reading?
I mean, reading right now, yes. It's based on public speaking. So I always have this desire on how can I master the art of public speaking. Because remember, you know, when you go and deliver a presentation, your objective is to impact people's lives. And that is not something that is relatively easy, right? Because I go to an event and people have their own previously held beliefs. And then I've got my own content. And then this content is somehow influenced by the beliefs that I have, exactly, right? And these beliefs that I do have, I'm saying, if you can apply these strategies that I have, they can transform your lives. Now you can imagine, asking somebody to change their habits is not something that's easy, right? So now you get on stage, right? You have to be convincing as a speaker that whatever it is that you're saying can be able to convince those people that, you know what, I need to apply this. And now if you cannot master the art of public speaking, how then do you convince your audiences? You get that? I get that. So then the challenge is now, they've got their beliefs, I've got these beliefs. Now I've got to deliver this presentation, and then they've got to make that decision. Now for them to be able to make that decision, they have to first be convinced by you. And that goes back to the art of public speaking.
It's complex. It's complex.
Like, look, our role is to instigate change as speakers, right? And that can be extremely difficult, and it can be rewarding, right? Because you can imagine, you go to an event and then you speak, and then right after that somebody says, you know what, I actually like the content that you shared, and I think I'm going to apply these things. Because I remember, again, I was at Dennisville, I delivered this keynote talk, Feel Fear, Pursue Your Dreams. And then right after that, I was just sitting, and then this lady approaches me. I think she must have been emotionally and physically abused by a partner at that time. And then she approached me, right? And then I'm just like digesting everything that I've just delivered this presentation, and I'm sitting down and I'm gonna relax. And then this woman comes, and then she starts crying, right? And she says, you know what, I've been abused, 1, 2, 3 is happening in my life, but the content that you've shared with me has really given me hope. Is there anybody else that you can refer me to that can assist me with the problems that I have? And unfortunately enough, I knew I had people that could. So I think those are some of the rewarding things that helps me at the end of the day to keep on doing what I do best. The effect of that. And then one thing that I also do again is that whenever I go to my presentations, whenever I deliver all of my presentations, I take evaluation sheets with me, and then I give them to me. I hand them out, and then here's the thing about, if somebody doesn't know you, they'll be honest with you, right? And unlike somebody who knows you, they'll be let me not try to be exactly. So, but one thing that I've realized, and not that I'm bragging, what, all right? I'll give them my presentations, and then I'll read them afterwards, right? You read the evaluation sheets, right? Because they also get to like score my performance. Was I good? Was I average and bad? But then it is the remarks that they leave there that will inspire me at the end of the day to keep on doing what I'm doing, right? You come across somebody say, you know what? I've always been controlled by fear, but after this talk, I have learned on how to overcome fear. Because here's one thing that I do in my presentations. I first take you through a process on how fear manifests itself. And then once I do that, I conduct a role play. So basically, I'll just ask one of the members to come to the front and conduct a role play. And I can always guarantee you, before I can get somebody to come, they're always scared. And then somebody will ultimately be brave enough to come. And then I'll just hand out $100 and then give it to them and then sit down. And then the message that I relay behind is that at that moment when I asked them to come and then they didn't, they suffered from fear. Because they did not know what's on the other side. And now that somebody has managed actually to come and then they get the reward, it now enlightens them to say,
I should have.
I should have. And that's exactly what happens in their lives.
Yeah.
They're granted opportunities and chances that they're supposed to take, but then they don't do that.
Scared. Yeah,
they're scared. But once you see the results and the rewards, you're like, damn.
And I wanted to go.
And I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So that's how I get them to be actively involved too. Just not to understand, but to see how fear manifests itself.
Yeah. No, great stuff, great stuff. And then I see we're running out of time, so I'm going to ask you one last question. What companies mainly require your services or ask for your services?
Okay.
Do you have? Is it firms? Is it smaller than companies? How can people reach you if they want to?
Look, I'm both. I work in the private and public sector. All right. So then, if let's say maybe a school, a public school, like a township school, wants a motivational speaker for any event, they can contact me. You say maybe a non-profit organization like the one that I've worked with. I don't know if I can mention their names, but they're based in Sasolburg.
You can mention.
Okay, it's Lusa Community Chest, like they're big that side, right? Yeah. So I also do work with them, and then another company that I recently worked with, it's Knowledge Resource. They're also based in Ntsane. So basically, that's I work with people both in the public and private, private space.
And then how do we contact you when we need services?
Okay, so they can go to online www.ntsanematla.co.za.
That's your website.
That's my website, and then on Facebook it is Ntsane Matla, and then on Twitter it is @nmatla. @nmatla. Yeah.
Great stuff. There you have it from the man himself, Ntsane Matla, motivational speaker, Mr. Ndundu. Because he has all these things happening in his life, and he has something happening for your life as well, telling you that to fight your fears and take that first step to realizing your potential and your dreams. So if you think that you need further motivation from this gentleman here, you can get him on his Facebook and Ntsane Matla. You can get him on Twitter @_Nmatla. And then you can also get him on his website www.ntsanematla.com. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope that you change lives for the better. We have a problem in South Africa that needs to be sorted out. I don't know if it's motivational speakers that we need, or if it's psychiatrists, because there's a whole lot happening. What do we need?
Look, man, it's a lot of things, right? But just like I mentioned, I focus on personal development. So that is one area that I know that I can be able to impact people's lives. But if again they do have deeper problems, psychological problems, that's where psychiatrist comes in. Unfortunately, I'm not I only know how to speak. That's all I ever do.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you. Great session we just had. Right now it's 29 minutes past 4. It's time for the news headlines and the sports news. Huda is standing by for the news headlines. Stay tuned on 103 Hope FM. This is Youth Connect and I am Daddy. Let's go to the news.